you. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the welcome. And look, I could only wish that I was there in person. Coffs Harbour is one of my most favourite spaces to be. I was just only saying the last time I was up there was during Cyclone Larry. So she was pretty wild and woolly up there, but I certainly am looking forward to getting back to Coffs Harbour very, very soon because I need to break out of my COVID bubble. So look, a tremendous thanks to 6 Degrees and the team and, you know, being welcomed into the Coffs Harbour space because look, one thing that we have been doing a lot with our webinars, we've been tending to, you know, saturate our metropolitan spaces, but you know the population's huge outside of the metro and everybody needs a little bit of a guiding hand, a bit of warmth, and yes, the ATO can provide you that. We've got so many, you know, free educational tools and products on offer. So I work for the Small Business Education Unit within the ATO, and it's my job to bring everything tax and super to you. So I like to refer it as, I don't know, spreading the ATO cheer. And I know everyone just goes, yeah, right. But it's true. So there's so much on offer that we can assist you with. And one of those things is considering your small business viability. So look, this webinar today, it's all about checking in with your business viability. It's a bit like going to the chemist and you know those really big machines that you walk by at the door and you think, oh, I don't know if I want to sit in that machine because it's going to tell me I'm unhealthy. You know, you put your arm into the blood pressure thing and, you know, put a little pulse thing on your finger and checks your height and checks your weight and, you know, you walk out really quite deflated. But the business viability tool works exactly the same, except I don't want you to walk out deflated. I want you to walk out of this webinar today thinking, you know what, I feel empowered to go and do a bit of a business health check on my small business. I want to see where I'm doing really, really well and where I can improve. So that's what I'm going to walk you through today. It's just going to be an overarching visual of what the tool can actually do for you, how you can use it, and what you can actually do with the results moving forward. So look, firstly, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of country throughout Australia and the continuing connection to land, waters, and the community. I would like to pay my respects to them, their cultures, elders, past and present. So during today's session, I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. I'm just bringing up the chat box now. I usually keep one eye on the presentation and one eye on the chat box. So feel free to come through at any stage. If you do have any questions, I can't answer specifics, but I certainly can answer any general inquiries and give you a little bit of a guiding hand in relation to pointing you in the right direction. Now, often we come to these types of forums and, you know, we think, oh, could have asked a question, should have asked a question, didn't ask a question. Maybe you walk away and you think, yeah, okay, now I know what question I want to ask. You know, when those questions just pop into your mind in the middle of the night? Yeah, I'm one of those people too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place my email address into the chat box. And if you do walk away from this forum and you think, yeah, I really have a burning tax question and I'd really like to get that answered, please don't hesitate to email me. I'll be more than happy to assist you in any way that I possibly can. So today's session's all about your business viability. We're going to talk about gathering the documents. What documents do you actually need to be able to fill out this tool? We're going to step you through each page of the tool. And as I said, I'm just going to keep it really nice and light and interactive. We're not going to get into a lot of detail. I just want to get you or give you that level of comfortability to be able to go to the ATO website and participate with this tool. Be very clear. This tool is between you and your books, okay? The information that you put into this tool does not go anywhere. The ATO can't see it. No one can see in it because it'd be a breach of privacy. So this is a resource tool that you can use to help you make those informed decisions with your small business. Once we enter all the information into the tool with the example that we've got, we're going to have a little bit of a look at results. What do they mean? You know, it's all very well getting a whole heap of information spat back at you, But how do you break that down? How do you understand that? How can you move forward from that? And we're also going to talk about all the advice and support that's on offer out there. So have you asked yourself these questions? Is my business profitable? Good question, isn't it? And it's a question that you should be regularly asking yourself. Is my business getting ahead, or perhaps am I falling behind? How can I improve my business? And there's so many resources out there, and 6 Degrees is the best place to start. Go and knock on their door. Ask them, how can you help me? What type of advice can you give me? And what direction can you point me in relation to making improvements within my business? And lastly, but not leastly, you come to a crossroad with your business, and we understand that, COVID-19's been absolutely shocking. I'm on the understanding that it hasn't hit Coffs Harbour as hard as what perhaps it may have hit some of the metropolitan areas. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think each and every one of us have been affected in some way or form. I know I certainly have. It's terrible that I know how many steps are to my washing line and to my letterbox, and my main direction is to my kitchen and back to my office. So, if that's what you call affected, I'll own that title. So we get to the crossroads. Do I keep my business going, or do I need to close my business? So they're real thoughts. And I know it's not something that we promote during Small Business Month, but we need to look at the realities behind our businesses. Can we survive? How are we going to survive? Who's going to help us? And if we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, how do I go about closing my business? But and this is why you're here today, we want to know what our business viability is. We really want to hear the hard stuff. We want to hear the real stuff. So business viability, it's all about the ability to survive. It's a lot like putting fuel into your car. No fuel? You ain't going nowhere. And I know that because I was born on the side of the road because my farming dad ran out of fuel when I was born. Lucky me, huh? That's probably why I'm a bit special. So moving on, business viability, you need to be able to have cash flow, okay? Cash flow is king. That's the trending word at the moment, or the trending phase. Cash flow is king, and it is. You don't have cash flow, your business isn't going to be going very far soon. So we need to look at the financial position of our business. And it's all about, making a profit. I heard a very interesting saying. I hosted a webinar last week, and, a tax professional came up and they said the really simple words, and I really embraced them. How much are you paying yourself? Because that's what business is all about. Okay, you love your business, but it's all about how much can I pay myself? How much am I going to make? So if you've got those goals in mind, this is where you need to look at, your profit margins. You need to be able to meet your business commitments. And how do you do that? It's by being smart with your books. 60% of small businesses fail in the first 3 years, and you've probably heard this time and time again. Traditionally, it comes down to 2 things: record keeping and debt, okay? People don't keep good books. We've got good intentions to keep good books, but the importance of being able to keep good books is the ability to be able to see what your income is and how much you're spending. How can I earn more? How can I spend less? So we need to also know if our business is going to hit a bit of a brick wall, and all businesses do at some stage. We fall down, we pick ourselves back up, we brush ourselves off, and we keep going. But it's really important to have that cushioning. And I suppose I go back to my farming days of, my parents used to always say, you need to have a bit of fat on your bones to be able to get through. And it's true. You put that analogy into business sense. Your business needs to have a bit of fat to fall back on. And if it does have that cushioning to be able to fall back on, it means that you've got the ability to be able to bounce back. COVID-19 has really demonstrated the importance of being able to be resilient, meet challenges head on. So we need to know, how can your business sustain itself in regards to its profit margins, okay? Welcome to the Business Viability Tool. So this is what it looks like. It's a very simple tool to use. We're going to talk about what documents you're going to need in just a minute. Head to ato.gov.au and you can do the whole / thing, BVAT. Now, the type of documents that you're going to need, say you're going to need 3 years worth of documents. But perhaps you've only been in business for a year. That's okay. If you want to put your 1 year, just have a bit of a play, that's all right, because any education is good education. So if you do have 3 years worth of business documents, and the type of business documents you're going to need are things like, you know, your profit and loss statements, your balance sheets, aged creditors and debtors listings, and your total repayment amounts for all your debt commitments. You need that whole picture, okay? Now, once you've got all of those documents, you're able to actually head to ato.gov.au, bang on the landing page, scroll down, and you're going to see this, calculators and tools. Now, in this section, I'm just going to click it now, there is an absolute buffet worth of calculators and tools. And you know what? You pay your taxes. Let us do the work for you. So in this section, if you want to get a depreciation calculator, perhaps you're working from home, you're running a home-based business, and you want to work out what your home expenses are going to be, you can go to our home office expenses calculator. And that's just the beginning. I'm not even touching the surface. So we've got that much information, educational products to be able to assist you. So stop pulling your hair out, don't stress it. Head to the website and let the tools do the work for you. Now look, whilst I'm on this page, because it's one of my faves, head to here. Can you see that? ATO Community. This is a great little space to go to ask your questions. So what you would do, you would click in there and you would actually put your questions in using keywords. Now, 98% of the time, the question has been asked and it's been answered. So those keywords will pick up any of the questions that are relating to what you're asking. Look, it's just a nice, timely way of you being able to get answers to your questions. I mean, how many times have you rung and you've listened to hold music and you've been sent round in circles? Don't do that anymore. Head to ATO Community. And you know what? If your question hasn't been answered already, send us your question via ATO Community, and we've got a team dedicated to be able to pick up that question and get it answered within 48 hours. And then your question and your answer will be applied to ATO Community. And just a quick FYI, you can ask that question anonymously, all right? So if you don't want your details on the net, that's cool with us. So this is what the calculator and tools section looks like. So if I was to click into Business Viability Tool, I can actually do a bit of a filter. I can hit business, I can apply that filter and boom, Business Viability Tool. So that's what I'm going to click on. This is what the page looks like. Okay, so you're going to be able to read a little bit of information surrounding what the tool is, how you can use it, and it will highlight that it's just a resource tool. We strongly recommend that you seek professional advice, or, you know, head to your friendly team at 6 Degrees. They're the ones that are going to be able to assist you and point you in the right direction. So what you would do, you would place your business name in there. You're going to place a whole heap of details in there, okay? Because you've got your documents, you're ready to rock and roll. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to actually start putting our details in. But just for, say, you're reading through this info and you think, oh, I don't quite know what that means, or I don't know what to do with that, or you know what, head to help. And I'm not sure if you've had a good look on around the ATO website, but we've got lots of help functionalities connected to a lot of our pages. Have you ever been in the business portal and you just thought, oh, I've got a burning question, I need a bit of help? If you head up to the top of the page at the business portal, on any of your business portal pages, you'll see business portal help function. It is sensational. And trust me, when I was a kid, I broke 22 TVs because I like to push all the buttons. So when the business portal was being designed, they actually came to me and said, If it's anyone that's going to break something, it'll be you. So we need you to test and trial this business portal. So I gave it a good run for its money, let me tell you. And the answers that came back to my questions via the business portal, phenomenal. So don't hesitate to reach out to those help functions because you'll be really pleasantly surprised. All right, so look, let's look at a bit of an example. Say g'day to Medica. Medica owns, she's been operating it since 2017, and she's realised in the last year, you know, she's just not going very well. The bank account isn't looking flash at all. She hardly has any savings in the account, but she wants to know how she can improve. She needs a bit of a health check, you know, she needs the old blood pressure done on the old business to find out what does she do, how does she do that, who does she contact for a bit of assistance. And if that assistance comes back and says, well, look, Medica, come on, let's be honest. Because of X, Y, Z, and we'll explain this throughout the webinar, you might be better off closing your business. So these are all the thoughts that's surrounding Medica and her business. So let's drive on in. Let's see how this baby runs. So Medica's cafe, it's called Cafe 5 Star. So she pops that in. This is where you can actually put your financial years in, okay? So at the beginning, it's always best to do 3 years. But if you've only been in business for a couple of years, have a crack, have a go. Because any information is good information because then you're going to head to your 6 degrees and your tax professionals to be able to drill down and nut the information out in the assessment report at the end to be able to find out what you can do. So if I'm to go click the add button, I'm going to choose 2017-2018 financial year. Do I have sales? Sure do. I'm going to put my sales revenue in there because that's what all my, my financial reports have told me. My cost of sales, I'm going to put my cost of sales in there. Now, another great little tool for you, just whilst we're on cost of sales, because it's, you know, it's commonly a, you know, a fairly talked about situation of higher expenses, lower income. So have you heard of benchmarks? Now, if you haven't heard of benchmarks, may I suggest you go to ato.gov.au, type the word benchmarks into the search function. Now, the reason why I bring that up, it's a 3-tier thing with me, okay? So I've sat in auditing seats for a long time in the tax office. Benchmarks is a go-to if you're a startup to begin with, because it's going to actually give you the average income and the average expenses for each industry type. So and literally we're going to use the 98% rule again. The Australian Taxation Office has gone across 98% of Australian industry, worked out what the average income you can expect to earn for that business and the average expenses, so what you can expect to spend on that business. So even before you start your small business, if you head to benchmarks, it's going to give you a little bit of a light bulb moment in relation to you're going to know how much money you're going to roughly need to be able to set up your business. I mean, there's a lot more thoughts around that process. I am giving you a very much of an overarching view. You a little bit of guidance in relation to how much you can expect to earn and spend. And that's going to be able to firm up that decision in relation to how much do you want to earn? How much do you want to get out of your business? So it makes that decision making, you know, all that little bit easier. If you're already in business, benchmarks is a great little health check as well. Are my expenses higher than what they should be? Are they outside of the average? Is my income a little bit lower, or maybe it's a little bit higher than what the average is? Well, if it is higher than what the average is, that tells me straight away as an auditor that you're doing a great job. So this is a great little space just to check in. And if you don't find your industry type in benchmarks, Google IBIS World, IBIS World. Okay, so that's actually got a broader range of benchmarking in there to be able to give you your average costs and your average incomes for the industry types. So the third spin on benchmarks, and as an auditor, a previous auditor, that's the ATO Bible. So auditors go there And that's the first thing they're going to check. If your income tax return has been identified by our data risk models, it actually, traditionally it's because expenses are higher than income, okay? So I always, as an auditor, you know, that's the first question I say, or don't say, I ask, do you know about benchmarks? And I always give the good example. Owns a Chinese restaurant. Bob went and bought $50,000 of rice for the income year, but Bob only earned $23,000 of income for the year. So, you know, I went back to Bob and I said, Bob, tell me, how do you do that? How do you spend $50,000, but you only earn $23,000? Teach me, tell me. I would love to do that. But then the second thing that I go and do, I go and have a look at his personal living expenses. And then I find out Bob's got 3 kids being privately schooled. He's got a couple of luxury cars outside his McMansion and a couple of yachts parked down the driveway. So that's when Bob and I have a really good conversation in relation to, Bob, how are you being able to fund this if your spouse doesn't work? But anyway, conversation for another day. See the importance of benchmarks? It really gives you the ability to get an overarching view of what's happening with your business. All right, so look, let's look at sales. So let's go back to our friend Medika. So Medika's put her cost of sales in, she's put her sales revenue in, and she doesn't have any other income. She's got no cushioning. She doesn't have that fat to be able to fall back on. So this is where Medika started to get worried because, you know, she doesn't have any money in the bank. So she's just got no margins. There's no room for error whatsoever. She's ticked, do I have other expenses? Yes, she does. Obviously, she's got plenty of overheads. She checks out her depreciation. She goes to the depreciation calculator on our ATO website. She gets the calculator to do the work for her, and she works out that her depreciation or amortization is $5,000. Her interest expenses sitting around $5,000, and all other expenses she's equated to $12,000. So she does have current assets, but not assets that can be easily disposed of. So she's in a little bit of a situation, you know, if I could sell assets to free up a bit of cash, she would, but she's unfortunately not in that situation. Her cash at bank sitting at $15,000, and her inventories come out at $5,000. Now, being a cafe owner, obviously, you know, she's got a couple of flash coffee machines, tables, chairs, you know, the good old Sambo maker. So that all comes under the property, plant and equipment. So she's got $15,000 worth there. Her trade creditors and other payables, well, she's coming in at $4,000. And all her other expenses, her other overheads, you know, for her current liability, she's sitting at around $12,000. So in relation to her non-current liabilities, she's got loans. So her loans currently sits at $10,000. In relation to customers that owe Medika money, well, she's got $2,000 outstanding. Now, let me just stop you here, because this is a common theme in business. How many of you, and I won't put any money on the nose, but how many of you have got, give your clients up to pay, for example, but then your suppliers are actually getting you to either pay upfront or within 7 to 14 days. Can you see what's happening? Money coming into the business is a lot slower than what money is going out. We need to reverse this. We'll talk more about this with the assessment results. All right, so do you have any suppliers that owe funds to you? Well, yes, Medika does, absolutely. And she's sitting at $4,000 within that, you know, 0 to 30 day space. So this is where Medika, she's done the first year of her records. The second year and the third year, exactly the same process, okay? So what you would do, you would add another year, and then you would go and do the 2019 financial year. Once that's done, you're going to go and do the 2020 financial year. So let's have a really raw, honest look. Her sales have dropped dramatically. She's got $0 in the bank. She's got an overdraft of $8,000. She's got invoices outstanding 90 days because she hates chasing up her clients. She thinks she's going to lose her clients if she follows them up to, for payment. And that's often a common freak out term with business because they don't want to bother their clients in case they lose their clients. I get it. I understand it. But at the end of the day, you've provided a product or a service. You've got to be paid. And the payments to her suppliers are overdue because the suppliers obviously want their money within 7 or 14 days. So she's going to go and answer a couple of other questions. After she's put the 3 years of financial data in, she's actually going to go back and answer the so do you have additional personal cash or assets that can be contributed to the business? We already know that. She's got no cushioning. She's got no fat to be able to fall back on. Is your business on credit terms with major suppliers? Well, yeah, 7 and 14 day terms. Do you have a business plan in place? So dear Medica, she had good intentions to begin with. She, ripped off a piece of notepad off the old spiral book and did her up her own business plan. And that's as far as she got because she kind of thought, oh, this is boring. This doesn't mean anything to me. But let me stop you right there. A business plan is the backbone of your business because this is your business. You want to grow your business. And the only way that you're going to be able to grow your business is to be able to see what's happening in your business. You need to see where you're earning money. Where aren't you earning money? When are you spending and how much are you spending? Can you improve on what you're earning? And can you maybe, as my old farming father used to say, pull the belt in? Can you spend less? So a business plan is going to give you that overarching visual of how your business is faring. And you know what? It's your business plan. You can do it however you like to do it. Business.gov.au, they've got a fantastic business template. You can actually Google business templates. You can also get business templates out of your accounting softwares as well. So may I encourage you to check with your software providers, see what they can provide you. They might just have some absolutely, absolutely rad business plan that you think, yeah, you know what, I could probably do something with that. But let me be really, really clear. Make sure you understand your business plan. No point having a business plan if you don't know what all the fancy words mean. You need to be able to follow it. And you need to be able to have that lovely, level of comfortability with your business plan. Because as I say, this is going to be the backbone of your business. This is what's going to support your business. This is what's going to drive your business. So this is a major area where our dear friend Medica is falling down. Does she maintain an up-to-date cash flow forecast? No, she just has a guess. She guesstimates, and guesstimators don't get far in life, okay? When it comes to business, you need to really have a good idea of what's coming in and what's going out. Okay, so do you have systems in place to support budget and cost control? Well, Medica said yes, because she's got an online banking app on her phone. So she can actually regularly check in and see actually how much money is in the bank. But kind of that's as far as what Medica went. She just downloaded the online banking app and that was it really. Do you have a good working relationship with your bank? Oh, Medica, she called the bank once and said, can I have a loan? The bank gave her a loan and Medica hasn't bothered checking in with the bank since. So as you know, I mean, during COVID and moving forward, I mean, we can see what our interest rates are at the moment. It's a pretty good indication that, everything's pretty tight, but banks are very competitive. Have you had a bit of a look in regards to what other banks are offering? Are you matching other banks up against your own bank? This is what XYZ's planning to offer me. Can you match it? It's all about having those conversations, and they're not hard conversations. It's just, the ability of putting up, excuse me, I'd like to ask you a question and I'd like a fair answer. So it's really important to, be friends with your bank. I mean, I know I'm not telling you anything, but it certainly has its merit to how to host regular conversations with your bank. And obviously Medica chose no because her business has only been running for 3 years, not 5 years. All right, so look, let's have a bit of a look at the assessment results. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail around this, but what I am going to go into, and because I'm a bit of a visual person, Green ticks are great. Red crosses, they're not so great. Remember school? Yeah, the red pen, big red cross. I got a lot of them at school. So the assessment tool works the same. So if you've got lots of green ticks, you've got lots of crosses, you need to sit down and have a bit of a think tank. Okay, so let's go through it now. So the EBITDA, do you know what an EBITDA is? I know everyone asks me this question. What does EBITDA mean, Linden? So it's before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Okay, that's EBITDA. So looks all right on the surface. But then she starts looking at the financial position and the working capital position. Yeah, red crosses. She needs to drill deeper. She needs to find out what's going on within those spaces. So she working capital of her business, and it's not looking great. So this is giving her the questions to be able to go to organisations such as your 6 Degrees. And, you know, your 6 Degrees has got such a sensational reputation in your area. Why wouldn't you make that the first stop to go and knock on their door? You know, past that, they can engage tax accountants. They can engage tax. They can talk to others in their industry types. So I guess what this tool does, it's a conversation starter. And simply that's really what it is, starter, because your people like, you know, your organisations like 6 Degrees are going to be able to move that conversation forward for you. The debtor and the credit situation, well, we kind of highlighted that before, didn't we? Dear Medica hates chasing her debts, but, you know, she has to rise within 7 to 14 days. I mean, that picture's already painted black as it is. So this is where Medica can drill down and change her situation of maybe she could charge or she could invoice at 7-day terms and pay her suppliers at 30-day terms, because that's going to get a bit more cash flowing through the business. Now, in relation to, does she have a business plan? Well, that's a big dump bomb. And the cash flow forecast, that's another bomb bomb. So this tool is giving that immediate level of information that, you know what, you're doing okay in some spots, but you need to improve in other spaces. So, you know, Medica's kind of, she's still at that crossroads. She's still thinking, well, I don't really know what to do. I think the next step I need to do is head to, you know, I'm going to head down to 6 Degrees. I'm going to ask them for a bit of support, a bit of guidance. I need to get myself some low cost, no cost financial advice, and there's plenty out there. But at least she's been able to make an informed decision. She's a lot further than what she wants. She was in guesstimate world before. Now she's in know it world. It's a big difference. It's a massive step. That takes confidence. And do you know what? With confidence, that's going to actually grow your business. You're going to be able to work smarter and not harder. So in relation to seeking advice, sure, call into your 6 Degrees. That's the first place I want you to stop. The second place, go to business.gov.au. They're professionals when it comes to business. They have highly trained staff to take you through different business processes. And, you know, a lot of small businesses say to me, Linden, I just don't know how to ask the questions. Well, we've given you the tool you now know what questions you need to ask. So if you were to go to 6 Degrees or business.gov.au, they will be able to at your questions because you've got them now. The assessment tool's been able to provide you with what you actually need to drill down into to be able to improve. Let's talk debt. Let's talk the 27th of March this year. What a day. I'll never forget it. 27th of March, federal government came through and said, right, we're in restrictions. We're in lockdown. COVID is here. 27th of March saw the end of AusKey. It was hardwired to end. ATO couldn't do anything about it. The software had an expiry date. So a week later, federal government came out and on JobKeeper and cash flow stimulus packages. But what you needed to do was lodge. Lots of businesses haven't lodged for a long time. Lots of businesses have. Most businesses are absolutely amazing. But usually there's a reason behind why people haven't lodged. It's either their bookwork needs some improving, or they don't have the money. Now, what we saw the month after the 27th of March, we saw a McLodgement of McLodgements. Everybody lodged everything. They lodged from like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And what that's created is a big debt on the ATO systems. Now, that's not only is COVID-19 an emotional roller coaster. Well, actually, let's go back. Let's go back to the drought. I mean, the drought hung around. I know in Coffs Harbour you get some beautiful rain there. If only I could grow a garden like yours in my front yard, I'd be absolutely stoked. But you've got the drought, you had the bushfires, then you had the floods, and then boom, COVID-19. What a year, 2020. It's etched in my mind, that's for sure, and it certainly scarred a lot of souls. So with all these lodgements on the ATO systems, this stressed people out. You know, they weren't on an emotional roller coaster before, they certainly are now. I don't batter an eyelid at an $800,000 tax debt. It makes me nervous for the small business, but at the end, it's fixable. Now, you'd be pleasantly surprised in relation to how much the ATO has opened up the level of support around debt and lodgements. So if you are struggling, what I want you to do is go to the payment plan estimator if you're in debt. You can find that on ato.gov.au. You can find it in your business portal, or you can find it on your ATO app. Head to the payment plan estimator. Put a plan in that you can actually meet. And this is the biggest thing that comes out of debt. People get scared and, you know, oh, I don't want to talk to the tax office. That's the first thing. The second thing is, oh, I don't want the tax office to give me their payment plan because I know I can't stick to it. Well, you know what? Come to us. Go to the payment plan estimator, work out, play with your figures, work out something that you can actually sustain. No point getting into a payment arrangement if you can't meet it. So come to us. Let us assist you from there. And you know, if you do strike the scenario that someone says to you, oh no, you must do this and you must make this big upfront payment, you know what? Say to them, be honest. I can't do it. There's just no physical way I can do that. However, I can do this, and I've designed my own payment plan. And it's not hard because the payment plan is going to do everything for you. So you're going to know by putting in whatever figures you're going to put in as to what you can afford to pay fortnight or month, it'll come back to you and you know, give you the period of time that you know, you may be able to get that payment plan paid off. It's all about entering the system and getting into routine, and that's the crux of small business. Healthy routine, healthy business checks, making sure that you know, you're lodging on time and you're paying on time. And if you can't lodge on time and you can't pay on time, you need to reach out to us and ask for a deferral of your lodgement, you know, an extension. Give us your payment plan of what you can do. Perhaps you need to vary your pay-as-you-go installments down to zero because you just haven't had any income come in. Maybe you want to vary it up. You know, you might have a seasonal business and, you know, it's coming up Christmas time. I'll send all the tourists up to Coffs Harbour and make sure all the businesses boom. You might even see me up there because I love your coffees and I love your fish and chips, by the way. So there's lots of support out there. National Debt Helpline. Again, it's a helpline full of professionals. If you were or you know someone affected by the bushfires, the federal government's actually put on a lot more bushfire relief officers into the fields. And I know this because I've been training them from an ATO perspective. So we've been going through all the ATO stimulus measures, the level of assistance that we've got on offer in relation to, as I was saying, our lodgement deferrals, our payment arrangements, our low interest payment arrangements, remitting penalties and interest, varying pay-as-you-go instalments. Maybe you're still lodging quarterly and you want to change to monthly because you want to get a more regular cash flow boost. Instead of receiving that cash flow boost quarterly, if you change to monthly lodgement for your GST, and that's all you'd need to do, just change GST, You would be able to receive the boost in more regular intervals rather than just receiving it quarterly. You've also got Vincent Care and you've got the Salvation Army. Okay, so, you know, I could probably go on for days and days, talk underwater with marbles in my mouth in relation to how much support is actually on offer. You've also got your business enterprise centres. So you can jump on Google, check them out. Again, it's an outfit full of professionals that they're not going to judge you. No one's going to judge you in these situations. 6 Degrees, you've got your BECS, you know, you've got your national debt helplines, you've got your fire affected, you know, rural fire service officers, relief officers that are out there. No one's here to judge you. We're just here to assist you. And this is what we get paid to do. Also, as I was saying to you in relation to, you know, with what's been happening in 2020, man, what an emotional roller coaster it's been. It really has. It's, you know, if it sucked the life out of you, I don't blame you feeling like that, because I know it sucked the life out of a lot of people around Australia. So if you're feeling, you know, that you can't reach out in a normal sense to family and friends, yeah, I get pride. I was raised in the country. I had to swallow my pride on a number of occasions, but just feel at ease to be able to reach out to people like Beyond Blue, because again, they can really get you across the line and give you that resilience back. You know, pick you up, brush you off and send you on your way with a little bit more confidence to be able to do what you need to do. Plenty of ATO webinars available. They're all free. And this is why, you know, 6 Degrees has engaged us, not because we're free, but more because we've just got so many products on offer that we can actually offer your community. So if you want to engage with our small business webinars, all you need to do is go to our webpage, type in the word small business webinars, and I know I keep using it, but do I say there's a massive menu, not smorgasbord, not buffet, there's a massive menu of small business webinars on lots of how-tos. You know, running a home-based business, starting up a small business, becoming an employer, single touch payroll, fringe car benefits. I could go on and on and on and on. And there's plenty more coming out in the pipeline. So if you want to register for any of those webinars, head to our website. So the ATO, we're everywhere. And I say that with a big cheeky smile. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and there's lots of how-tos on YouTube. Don't be like me, okay? I think my management's going to hashtag this. Don't be like Linden in relation to, I tried a couple of DIY projects and I had screws left over. And then I got really upset and I just decided to ignore those screws. I thought, oh, she'll be right. I'll bury my head in the sand. Nah, I got really upset when everything fell apart. So don't be like me. Head to our YouTube page, find out how to do what you need to do to be able to meet your taxation and superannuation obligations. But the one thing I did want to highlight, you know, if you want to be at the forefront of your tax and superannuation obligations, follow us via our social media platforms. And the reason why I say that is because we've got some incredibly proactive deputy commissioners and assistant commissioners that are regularly posting day and night, to the extent that I actually received one at 2 o'clock in the morning the other morning. I thought, wow, they're up early. But then I sort of twigged onto automation. But anyway, the information that's coming out is very clear. It's very concise. So you may have noticed when COVID hit that we had messaging from local council, we had messaging from state, we had messaging from government, and all that messaging got quite confusing. So if you want to get a nice succinct message in relation to what's changing in the tax and super spaces, hit that lovely little follow button on your social media platforms. But also, if you're not a social media guru or platform user, platform dancer is what I call you, you can give us a call. Our number's 132866, and we'll be more than happy to take any of your questions and look at anything that you need us to look at. Because, you know, as I said to you before, you pay your taxes. You pay us to assist you. So look, that's the end of my presentation. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to either A, send it via the chat box, or B, send me an email. Okay, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I love my job. I'm incredibly passionate about what I do, and I get small business. You know, when you're raised on a dairy farm, having to get up at 3 o'clock every morning, and by the way, I still wake up at 3 o'clock every morning, and you work 7 days a week, I get small business. So if you need to reach out to me in a tax sense, but for anything and everything else, reach out to your professionals at 6 Degrees. So look, that's where I'll sign out. I'll hang around the chat box for a little bit, but a massive thanks to 6 Degrees and the Coffs Harbour City Council. Can't wait to get up your way at Christmas time. And if your doors are open, I might just pop in and give you a big hello. But for the minute, I'm going to hand you back to Chris. Thanks a million for your time. I look forward to seeing you soon.